personal. What you saw today was just a taste. Where's the kid? Who are you? What the... Remember now?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 action thriller Darkness of Man. The film is co-written and directed by James Cullen Bressak and it stars Jean-Claude Van Damme. We have Emerson Min, Christina Loken, we have Spencer Breslin and Cynthia Rothrock, as well as Shannon Doherty as well. Right, okay. The film focuses on Van Damme's character, Russell Hatch, who we see at the beginning of the film is kind of the protector of this Asian woman. She gets killed, and before she passes, she makes Van Damme make a promise that he will protect her son if anything happens to her. She ends up obviously dying, so he becomes the protector of Jaden, her son. So throughout the years he's protected this boy. However, now he's kind of got to an age, members of his criminal family are seeking him out in order to get him involved in the family business. This sparks Van Damme into action, and a war erupts between the Korean gangs and the Russian gangs, with Van Damme in the middle only wanting to protect Jaden. Right. What are my thoughts on Darkness of Man? Well, I mean, the first thing I want to say is it's really, really good to see Van Damme back. I don't recall seeing a Van Damme film the last couple of years that, certainly not a good one anyway. I think there's one that he did maybe last year or a year before that I didn't enjoy very much. But I did see the trailer for this one, so I was actually quite looking forward to checking this one out. Right, okay. The first thing I want to say, I suppose, is I think Van Damme fans will probably know what they're getting with this film. It's a typical Van Damme film, however, with an aging Van Damme, I suppose it's fair to say. But it isn't a great film, this one. It is a real odd film in places. And what I mean by that is it starts off... You know, they're portraying him as like this grizzled veteran, almost like a PI. I mean, it's almost like a classical noir film. You know, it's got that whole vibe going on for it, the way it's lit and the way it's presented. It feels very like they're going for a noir approach here. And what kind of solidifies that is it's got like this narration going through it throughout the whole film. Now, maybe that wouldn't be so bad. However, the person doing this narration is Van Damme, and it's terrible. I mean, if not done properly, it could just come across as, I don't know, lazy and unnecessary. And we've seen bad examples in the past, like in Blade Runner, you know, when Harrison Ford had no enthusiasm in doing the voiceover narration thing. And the problem we've got here with Van Damme is it genuinely feels like he's just reading it off a card, and with his accent and everything, it just doesn't work. I personally think it needed somebody else to do the narration, and kind of tell it from a different perspective rather than from his perspective. It just didn't work. And every time the narration stroke voiceover came on, the film kind of sunk, in my opinion, big time. The plot should be a simple plot because it's really just Van Damme looking after this young teenager, Jaden, who is a typical teenager. He's not very thankful for what Van Damme's done or he's doing for him. You know, very naive. He's getting sucked in by his criminal family and all this kind of stuff. And he's actually a very frustrating character in many aspects. But, you know, you take your hat off to Van Damme for remaining loyal and wanting to do right by this young man. So it's actually a very simple storyline that is turned into this really quite overly convoluted plot against, you know, the Korean gangs and the Russian gangs, and then there's this vet that Van Damme's got this relationship with, played by Christina Loken, who still looks fabulous, by the way, regardless of how old she is, and I'm not sure how old she is, but the film didn't need her. And fans of Cynthia Rothrock, can I just say, don't watch this film if you're looking forward to seeing Cynthia Rothrock, given a vehicle to shine in, because you're going to be desperately disappointed, because she's barely in the film, and what she does do in the film is definitely not Cynthia Rothrock stuff. So I don't understand the point of casting her in a film like this and not letting her shine, in my opinion. But there you go. And also, we've got Spencer Breslin in this film. Now, that name might not sound familiar to you. But I knew I recognised him when I was watching the film. When I've actually checked up on the cast, he is the kid from the Cat in the Hat film. You know, the Mike Myers film. He is the kid in the Bruce Willis film, The Kid, and he was in Santa Claus 3. So he's much more recognisable as a child actor, but seeing him all grown up playing the role he plays in this film is a little bit odd, to say the least. The dialogue here as well is not the best at times. And some of the dialogue is at its worst when it's kind of him having a conversation or having conversations with the Christina Loken character. It's really not the best, and the delivery could be better. And I mean, there are some standout action moments in this film. I think there's a cool sniper sequence in the film with Van Damme as the sniper. And there's a couple of decent fights here and there. One standout one, in my opinion. And it's a bit unbalanced as well, some of the action scenes. Because some of the action scenes, he kind of comes off as really badass. And then some other action scenes, he comes off as, just barely getting through it in one piece almost. And, and he gets injured and he's laid up in hospital a couple of times and getting patched up here and there. So it kind of feels like, well, okay, if you're going for like the invincible kind of hero character, do it. If you're not, don't kind of shift between the two. And that's what it felt like the film was doing occasionally. And I have to say, I can only be honest here. Van Damme has been better in regards to his acting. I mean, no one's ever going to give Van Damme an award for acting, just as they're not going to give awards for Dolph Lundgren and Chuck Norris for acting. He is not, a typical actor, I suppose. But I and you have probably seen Van Damme doing, decent performances in the past, and much of that will have to do with the director behind the camera, and maybe some other factors here and there, some of the actors that he's acting up against, maybe as well. But I don't know if it's a performance where he's doing it on purpose, where he's kind of doing almost like this laid back, veteran, grizzled, seen it all, done it all kind of character, but it comes off as, I don't know, kind of nondescript really, his performance. And there are some notable poor performances by some of the other characters as well. I have to say, I think Christina Loken, I woun't have described her as a bad actress before this, but there are a couple of scenes in this where she's kind of standing trying to emote, and it's terrible. Quite stark how it kind of stands out how bad it is here and there. So this is definitely hit and miss here for Van Damme fans. It's great to see him back. There are some, when it gets down to the brass tacks of the film, which is, the action scenes for Van Damme and stuff, there are some moments where you think, yeah, that's Van Damme, that's what I want to see. But when it tries to do something different, like the noir stuff and the narration and voiceover, and some of the talky bits, I suppose, it really falls off a cliff in them moments as well, in my opinion. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed checking out this review. I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.